Good morning, everybody. We're
Hello
so
from
happy
Utah.
to see. Yeah, happy
Happy 2023.
2023. Yay!
First broadcast of the new year.
First broadcast of the new year.
Glad to have
at the new time. It was like, honey, it's light outside, and we're in mountain time, and we have time to have coffee before we actually go on the air. Yay!
It's different. Michelle got to the show without coffee. I'll share mine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're such a good sharer. That's his goal for the year.
Yeah, that's. I didn't know that till just now. But okay.
Jim's actually very good at sharing.
Oh, good. Thank you. Yeah.
So,
no, we got a fun broadcast for today. We brought our COO, Dave Murray, in to join the conversation. We got a lot of things to talk about. One quick mention. I got to throw out there something. Today is my dad's birthday.
Happy birthday, Jerry.
Oklahoma and Texas.
Yeah.
And, happy birthday. 84 years young today. So
congrats. He's quite a character.
Yeah. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
I get to any kind of I always credit him with any kind of smart aleck you see out of me.
Yeah.
That's probably
They just for some health reasons, he went into a nursing home about a year ago, and the man, every time before he went into the nursing home, every time someone tried to take a picture of him, they'd like go smile, and he'd go, I am smiling. And so, I mean, all the pictures that we go through, absolutely no smiles. We went to go visit him around Thanksgiving, and he's super proud of this big, huge bulletin board that has pictures of all of the residents. And so he's like, go over there and take a look at that, Michelle. And so I went over and took a peek, and I studied it. I was probably over there for 10 minutes and I was just studying it. And I came back and he says, what'd you think? And I said, Jerry, I don't think I've ever seen a picture of you smile that is in the house, but at least 75% of the pictures on this board, you are grinning ear to ear. And he broke out in a grin. And he goes, they make me. It's like, well, I think you're happy. I think, he's having a good time there. So
he's good.
A couple of quick things though, before we move on to bringing Dave in. FIADA, the rescheduled conference is next week. It's next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the 10th, 11th, and 12th. And we will be there, and we are planning on broadcasting our address live. So, we'll put some StreamYard stuff out so that everyone can kind of see that we're going on.
And that presentation next week will be around selling things besides the car, how to sell yourself, your program, your company. And it'll be an interesting topic.
It'll be really, really
and timely as we step into tax refund season.
And there's a lot of fun stuff that's coming up. We did the webinar. It is out there. We'll have some social, if you missed it, it was amazing. It was really, really rich content, and it's now on Buy Here, Pay Here Nation, or not Nation, Institute, BHPHinstitute.com. And so it's there for you to be able to watch all of that. Really, really great content. Some of the feedback that we've been getting or that we got during the program was this was one of the richest content, especially around that topic of converting more leads into appointments from your web lead base. So that, and then again, save the date, March 30th. That's going to be a big one. And we're really, really, it's going to be beautiful.
We'll talk about that some with Dave here.
So
we'll definitely save that date. We got some other people we're inviting now.
Before we
just whatever. Whenever Dave comes in, don't anybody mention the Rose Bowl or the Utah Utes, or we won't get any work accomplished here today. So
good morning, Dave.
Good morning. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We're so glad.
Please don't mention that. That's
that's got to be
well
fun.
I was asked before we started, I said, so what are you doing today? And he's like, it has something to do with television and football. And I was like, Dave's a huge fan of the Utes.
I'm a fan too. It'll be a fun game. So I don't understand, why didn't they play those games on New Year's Day?
They moved. It was because of the way it fell, I think, this year. And somebody can probably online correct me, but I know they had to move it to the second. It was something with contracts and Rose Bowl,
NFL
the weekend, and so that was why they ended up having to move it. So
I hadn't thought about the NFL factor, but that's always something. But anyway,
I can say happy birthday, Jerry, right?
Yeah, that's
Happy
right.
birthday,
Happy birthday,
Jerry.
Jerry.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for that.
Cheers. And then formally, right? I didn't do this the other day. Cheers.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning.
I
Good morning. Good morning.
Cheers.
I got my
Yeah.
coffee.
Sharing coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got my coffee. There we go.
Nice.
Cheers.
Good.
Cheers. Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is how we do the mornings around here. And now we do them 2 hours later. So that's going to be.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome to all of you in listener land.
Yeah.
And I do know those of you who tune in from the announcements we do on Facebook, the time is just, I do not know who's not playing nice. It's either StreamYard or it's Facebook, because we put them in the right time, and at least half the time it's just putting a.
It puts a universal time instead
Yeah.
of, whatever
Instead
your
of
current time
mountain
zone
or
is. So it
whatever,
looks like
yeah.
it's happening at 4:00 in the afternoon or something weird. So yeah, we'll figure that out. We'll get to the bottom
And
of that.
people are like, those dang people,
But-
they can't figure out what time they're going to do.
You
this
can put it on the
weekend.
calendar. It's 11 Eastern.
It's now 11 Eastern.
So
Or
all
no,
year long.
Yeah, 11 Eastern.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Eastern.
So
Thanks. Thanks. It'll help all of us. Well, especially you guys this year. West of the Rockies.
Yeah. We're expecting to spend more of our time in Utah in 23.
It
And so
is-
that just means
yeah.
mountain time zone, which was a factor, but certainly not
Yeah.
the only factor.
And we woke up to a winter wonderland
Mhm.
Boy,
on
that isn't no kidding. Yeah.
that is no kidding.
Yeah, no
And it's
kidding.
like I'm like, I've joked with a few of my friends on social. It's like there's a foot of snow outside.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's 75 degrees here.
Mhm.
And we're turning on the AC. And I'm like, dang you.
Yeah.
Curses.
So yesterday morning, Dave, I was shoveling snow. We were up in Ogden Valley, spent the night, for New Year's night. And
Mhm.
so the next morning to get home, I had to shovel snow out of the driveway to get us out just to the street. So it was it's something that we didn't experience in our time in Florida. So,
Yeah.
adjustment.
Well, hurricane, snow. You
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
you take your lumps.
Yeah.
But it is beautiful here.
I wanted to make, someone asked, how do we reconnect with StreamYard to be identified? So you're going to have to back out of the broadcast, go back to the post and scroll down on all of the language. And at the very bottom, there's a little blue link that says, it's okay for you to show us who you are. And you have to click that and then you go in. And then
If that doesn't work, ask Karen Barnett. She's on the broadcast. She's got her name on there. She's figured it out.
Exactly. So, and that's, I wish that we had a way of, maybe we should go into all the places and cut and paste and move it all the way to the top or something. I don't know, but it's. And actually, it's one.
Is that on our resolution list for 2023?
Wow.
Yeah.
So, Dave, one of the things that we're doing today is, all of the things and just a SWOT analysis. What are our strengths, and all of the stuff. So maybe there will be something in there about the morning show.
Yeah. Major weakness.
Major weakness.
No,
All
we
right.
have fun with the morning
Yeah.
show, and it's just going to continue. We so enjoyed our celebration on Friday. It's for those of you who missed it. Take a minute. We had some laughs. We introduced a new character.
Oh, do you want
And,
to just say good morning to
oh,
him?
of
Because he's
course, sure.
here. We
Yeah.
brought him with us. And so
Yeah.
those of you who missed the broadcast,
You missed the chance to meet
you missed a chance to meet Bill on a drill.
Bill on a drill.
So yes, and so this is you can hear the drill down there. Bill on a drill is actually going to be going to Benny.
So now Bill
yeah.
Elizondo at NIADA will no longer be able to use this phrase, my head is spinning. He won't be able to say that because that will conjure images of Bill on a drill.
We had a lot of fun. So if
Yeah.
you missed it, you should pop in. It was really, really
You have
great.
to know.
So,
And Bill started the fun with Benny on a stick last year. So
so
anyway,
what do we have then?
I brought Dave on today because I wanted to be able to talk to our viewers and especially, industry folks out there and just share some of what we are excited about with Nation TV in 2023. And Dave, before we go into that, it might help maybe tell a little bit of the story about, how you and I got to know one another, and then tell about your TV background, because that's going to be relevant as we move. Those of you who enjoyed the town hall event from Pennsylvania in October, Dave was very instrumental in bringing that together. And so now as we step forward, just look for more of the same. And so Dave, just share a little bit about your background, how we met, and then the TV part.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds good. Jim and I met, it's probably been 4 or 5 years ago. He was working on another project. We were brought in to help consult and raise money and kind of bring this this idea to market, and that's how we got to know each other. It was a great project, and actually, I mean, it's as I think you guys were right. I mean, as we see the market changing in the space,
That's a project unrelated to the car business. But
Yeah.
yeah.
completely unrelated car business, but it was interesting nonetheless. And so
Yeah.
that's where we met. My history goes back. It's been a long time actually now since I've been in television, but I ran one of the station or one of the news departments here in Utah,
Mhm.
and so was in that for nearly a decade.
Yeah.
And was did everything from things that anybody probably across country seen, like Olympic coverage. If anybody is old enough to remember the big Elizabeth Smart disappearance, Olympic scandal, I was right in the center of all of
Right in
those
the
things.
middle of that. Yeah.
It was
So just did that. I mean, did a lot of live TV in probably what I would call, it was a good time for TV, at least local TV. We had a lot of toys, and we got to do lots of fun live stuff. And it's changed some, especially with the advent of social media and everything, and the way coverage is done these days. But it was a great experience. So. And then we say, 10 years of news business, or it's probably worth 30 years of any other business, because it aged me quickly. So
Oh yeah.
It's so fast paced. I would
Yeah.
imagine that it's just
it's you have seven. For us, we had, I don't know, 7 or 8 hours of news, holes to fill a given day, and so we called it filling the black. I mean, filling the black screen. I like you got to put something on, and you have that every day. You've got to put it on, and I think if people got a chance to see behind the scenes of TV, it's chaos. It is really just utter, absolutely unadulterated chaos.
so
most of the
you
time.
hear me now, and all of that was
Yeah.
the same kind of chaos without the staff.
Yeah, without the staff, and maybe 1 or 2 less viewers than, say, hundreds of thousands of people, for example. So, but yeah, so that was a fun throwback. So I appreciate it.
It was kind of
remember this dress? No, I didn't know.
Yeah.
You bore it well.
Yeah.
You really
I had this stoic look, like, I don't know. I don't know what's wrong. It should be working.
Well, and it was it was a mystery to me too. And I think, baptism by fire, and there was an awful lot to learn. So
there was some fire.
There was some
And we learned from
No
it.
one
And I
heard
think
it.
what
Yeah.
people can see as we move forward is, we did a webinar the other night that was, less than perfect from a, technical delivery standpoint,
It
but
was
the content
great.
was
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
And, the feedback on that was excellent. And I think it's just a hint of what people can see. They can expect a lot of live webinars from us going forward. And I can even share with our audience that one of the things we've done is we've set out to kind of put those webinar topics in some sort of chronological order, as though you were starting a dealership from nothing. If you were doing that, where would you start? You would start with, obviously business planning, capitalization, and then you would move into inventory, and then sales, and, and on and on. So we kind of put those in that sort of order for the year, because when we wrap it up, we want to be able to make sure that all that material is available, to dealers new and established. And then they'll also see, gosh, this March event, Dave, I'm really excited about that, because that's going to be kind of what I would call graduate level education. And of course, everybody will be able to get something from that, because we're going to make sure and talk about, how do I make my business more profitable? How do I generate more cash flow? And ultimately, the end of the day, we want to make sure we deliver tips on how to create enterprise value. How do you make your business more valuable? And so all these things that we're talking about, they may serve you today to make your business more profitable, make your inventory move faster, all those kind of things. But at the end, we're really trying to help dealers figure out, how do I make my business operate without me? Can it grow without me? And so now those are the things that we're going to be talking about throughout March 30th. We got a ton of great people already have agreed to be part of that. So that'll be our live stream day. Tune in to see how long it takes us to get audio and just,
Okay, my goal.
We're gonna do an over and under. So it's March. So it's March Madness, our version of March Madness.
Yeah, and I'm kind of thinking it's going to be helpful, because one of the things that we are doing that's different is we will be in a studio. And so
Sure.
it will be it'll be different, because there'll be yeah.
Although Tommy
that.
created a pretty nice studio for us in Pennsylvania,
Really
we had a
did.
pretty good
We
setup.
had a
The
great
place was
setup.
great, and
Yeah.
it was great actually. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
for being on a dealership, I felt like
Yeah.
we had a pretty good setup. So yeah, this
Yeah.
time we'll have time to do some run throughs and get it right. But boy, the folks that we've got coming, I mean,
Mhm.
I don't know, Dave, I think you've probably heard that a big part of the reason that we're choosing kind of this blue sky theme for that event is because we did a podcast series, a 3-part series last year. Brent Carmichael from NCM, Ken Shilson, the creator of NABD, and Mark Burkholder with Peachtree Planning, who's exit and succession specialist. And we did 3-part series just because we knew we couldn't fit it all into one thing. And it was around this idea of why no blue sky in buy here, pay here? Why don't we see any blue sky and value that can be translated in buy here, pay here? And I'm just determined to get to the bottom of that.
It was interesting as I sat back, because I was in the background kind of listening to the stuff, and just the experts, they're like, it can't be done. And it's, why can't it be done? Because it requires cooperation. It requires people to do a specific, that there are specific things that need to be done in order to create that. And that we just haven't seen cooperation of dealers. We haven't seen cooperation of the industry. We haven't seen. And so that is that's what we're really working for.
And that's what we need to tackle.
Yeah. And so we're bringing the experts to help and just ask the questions. It's like, so by the end of that 3-part series, I asked those experts, I said, but if I'm a dealer and I have this and I have this and I have this, and I went through about 5 or 6 things. I said, if I had those things, wouldn't my dealership have some conveyable value? And they all said yes. So it's like, it's not there
is a formula.
There's a formula. There's a way to get there. And we don't, not somebody's going to do it overnight, but throughout the year, I think what you'll see is that's going to kind of be a theme of, we're going to have, kind of basic education through our webinar tracks and other events. We're also going to be doing some workshops or like mini courses.
Yeah.
Master
I
classes.
call them master classes, dealers, limited amount of dealers that can really dive into some very interesting topics.
Yeah. So that's kind of, I think, what you can expect to see for the theme for this year's. We're going to be bringing education, and some of it'll be kind of what Michelle and I call K through 12 education. And then a big part, we're going to save time to start to go into some of the graduate level stuff. And listen, I don't have all the answers on that stuff, but I know who does. So we're going to call them to the microphones, and we're going to definitely start to dig into that stuff on behalf of dealers.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. And I will say this, I mean, just personally, in my experience, I have a personal mastermind group. I didn't, know the concept years ago. I was introduced to it, had some very close, I was gonna say close friends. They were all connected similarly, but we didn't know each other well. And we've been going about 16, 17 years now.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
And what I found out of that is that you take these people in life who maybe you don't know very well, and all of a sudden you get around a table and lots of good comes out of that. A lot of, when you get that feedback from people who are in the know or maybe have a different perspective than you, you say masterclass. I that's why I went to mastermind. And when you can when you have a format or a place where you can come together and talk, like in many ways how the morning show has been, to talk about these things, it's where people have an opportunity to learn from others. Okay, what did you do right? What did you do wrong? What do we need to avoid? What do we need? And that's, if we could do something in creating kind of that ecosystem to where people can come in and really get the best the industry has to offer, of the knowledge of like, hey, how can we do this better? How can we go forward in a more meaningful way? How can we avoid some of the pitfalls that maybe others went through? Personally, what I found is having a kind of a group of board of directors around me to say, okay, what do you guys think? Here's this thing that has come up, and it's amazing. Sometimes things that which should be obvious aren't until you hear it from somebody you trust.
Right.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, I didn't know that.
Sure.
And pretty soon it's like, well, okay, yeah, I should do that. And I've made, I think, qualitatively better decisions since that, because I have others that I trust to bounce ideas and thoughts. And
yeah, and I think one of the things we've kind of resolved is, and we've shared with some of the people that have asked the question, like, I don't think you can look for Jim and Michelle to be in the 20 group business. Like 20 groups have been around a long time. That model's well established.
And that is a really beautiful platform to do what you were talking about there,
yeah.
Dave.
So in our industry, 20 groups is what they would call a peer group. It's kind of a sort of a version of mastermind. And so NCM as an entity started that as a coaching firm back in the 40s. And they've got now buy here, pay here specific tracks, as does NIADA, as does a group called Dealer Performance Groups. They have peer groups. So that's not really where we're going to live. We're going to live kind of we're going to do the kind of this online delivery platform. We're going to very much be focused on online delivery, virtual.
Us being able to do that. And then we, and so, one of the things we've told all of our colleagues in NCM and NIADA is that we're in the business of creating things that complement all of the stuff that is currently out there. And so that's like we're really out there. And I think that's one of the reasons why we've just had so much such great conversations and collaborative conversations with the different people from the different folks from the different organizations. It's like, all right, how do we help? What do we do? And so it's because we're coming at this as like, we're here to help develop dealers, and in some cases pass them off to 20 groups, and so, yes, but it does, Dave, there is such value in being able to do things where there can be conversations and really talk about the stuff that people are individually having issues with, and not everybody is ready for a 20 group.
No, and that is the benefit of kind of what I think we're going to try and do is we're going to say, okay, we maybe can't do that, but we can facilitate these conversations in using. I mean, that's something thank you pandemic that we all got used to, of being able to communicate virtually and find ways around that and say, okay, well. Okay, yeah, we might give up certain things, but we're going to gain certain things because now, Jim doesn't really have to, wear pants, for example.
Right. Yes, that was.
Wearing pants.
He doesn't have to dress up.
It's really at the end of the day, it's a budgetary consideration. Buy lots of clothing. See, so yeah,
at least we have to buy half.
Cut my budget in half.
Shirts are less expensive than pants anyway. So.
But it also, that's what I'm saying. So while there are the negatives sometimes about not being able to do stuff in person, there are huge benefits to be able to do it virtually. And that's the platform I'm excited to be part of, to help create. It's something I was very, experienced doing, bringing information to people and facilitating conversations and doing those sorts of things, and then utilizing what's at our fingertips right now, and something you guys have built up to where people are joining us and coming, everyone like, okay, what do they have to say? It's a very powerful tool, and it's a very powerful show you've created. And so let's expand it, and let's have some fun with the technology and spark all the discussions and share all the ideas and tackle all the problems.
Yeah. And I got to respond to George Spat in Florida. He said, sound like a virtual 20 group. And I would say, George, if we might be explaining it wrong, if that's the perception, because we really, a 20 group is really meant to be conversation between peers, and especially in a confidential way about things that are, pay plans and whatever else might be a private issue that they won't want to share with people in their competitive radius. What we're really doing is talking about platform where we bring experts. And like at our webinar last week, we also invited some front row dealers, which was really popular. People liked the idea that we had dealers on the screen as well to ask their questions and add to the conversation. So I think that's more what you can expect to see from our TV events, is that we'll have experts there. I'll be moderating, ask the question. Michelle will be there, and we will be able to get in there and ask the experts to deliver the information, the answers. And then we'll have some dealers there who can ask their questions as we go. But it's going to be more conversational than presentation style. And so that's one of the things we look forward to. That's one of the things we can really do through a virtual platform, is we can have people be absolutely there and in the conversation, at the time. And then folks are going to learn. You can catch the stuff after the fact, but you're going to miss the chance to get in on the live dialogue and ask your questions at the time. So we think that's really where you can expect to see Nation TV going. So maybe you can play the little stinger for them. So where you see,
those of you who have not seen the thing,
where you see this.
Every time I see that, I get
it never gets old.
Yeah,
never gets old. Never gets old.
So I think all the things we talked about here, where you see
Uh-huh.
that little brand is that's the kind of format that you can expect to see us bring forward. That's the kind of education that you're going to see. And again, I think I see a lot of opportunities for us, Dave, in graduate level education, really going to the
Well, also
the rich
primary education through that as well.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but yes,
we'll be
graduate
doing
level.
some of both. I just think the part that I'm energized about and bringing the experts to, so that we can get to the real tough questions.
Yeah.
You know, we kind of had that series on our Tout the Note podcast last year, which was the hardest questions in Buy Here, Pay Here. You know, what are the ones that are hard to go find? You know, there's only a handful of people that really have good answers around some of these things. And so data is starting to come in. One other quick thing I would say is that as we go into the year, we always talk about with our clients that one of the things, and I know you know this well, Dave, from your perspective in your entrepreneurship circles, is that we tend to make the mistake in business sometimes that we want to build a widget and go sell it. We think we know what the market needs and we're going to build this little widget and we're going to go sell it.
We create a market around a product.
We try to create the market instead of going and assessing the market and finding out what people need and then coming back and creating the product to that market.
It's solutions to problems. That's what people should be creating, is solutions to problems, and not creating a solution that,
And time and time again. I mean, same time, okay, I've come up with this thing that no one needs.
Yeah.
Wait, where's the market? That's not to say nobody will eventually need it. Maybe they're 5 years ahead, but that's the whole point. It's understanding what the market's ready for and responding to the market. And you're right. I've seen that time and time again.
Which is our way of saying, dealers, speak up. When you see a survey come in your inbox, take the 2 minutes and give us the information so we can bring you the right stuff.
Yeah, the things that you're struggling with, and we do. I've been really impressed. Jim, he's the one with decades of experience in this industry, is that he'll be watching what's happening in all of the social media and the conversations that are going on. And then it's like, oh, we should talk about X. And we were talking to Brent Carmichael the other day about, some of the things that we've done. And he's like, I see that you guys, you've got your finger on the pulse. You're trying to figure it out. But part of that is because we are doing surveys too. It's all of the stuff.
Well, and we spend a lot of time living in the space. Like we're in the trenches with our clients. We 12-month engagements and we're in there with them, fighting the fight. And so we know kind of what the challenges are. And I think one thing, Dave, for your benefit, is that webinar the other night was kind of trying to drill down to this thing about, one of the big challenges dealers face is this whole digital age that we're in and all the online dialogue. And how do I, some people are starting to digitally deliver, meaning they deliver they approve the customer online and they deliver the car to their driveway. Like there's some of that, but in Buy Here, Pay Here, that's still very much the exception. But we're starting to have to sort of adapt to that. And so I think that'll be a big theme of what we do this year, is helping dealers figure out how do I convert? We can create traffic, we can spend dollars and create traffic, but how do we then convert those folks into actual car buyers? And so that's among the things that we know is kind of a big, theme. And so that's why our webinar was so important the other day. So,
you're going to see. So,
I mean, what you're really saying, I mean, so it's taking the industry trends and having the trends at your fingertips. So that's what we're trying to give to the audience, which is here, we're the one, as you say, you in the trenches. This is what we're seeing, and being able to relay that information out when it happens.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I would say, going back to the whole match, that's not something you do. It's, those things are usually like, okay, we're going to get together once a month and talk about this thing, and maybe it's past. Where we're going is like, we want to talk about the now and the future, but like, okay, what's, because stuff happens, stuff changes. As you're saying, in the digital age, things are moving very quickly. I've been in the marketing space for a long time as well. It's astounding to me, actually, how quickly the technology is changing. And you could say that things were sort of, you had a year and a half, maybe 2 with certain technologies. That stuff is changing almost within 6 months now. And so you have, industry people in just the marketing space who are doing everything they can just to keep up with the technology and, what's possible that wasn't possible 6 months ago. And that's and we want to talk about all those things and the relevance for this industry and what that means. And here's what we're seeing. So I'm excited to be able to give as much information as we can, so that people can make some good decisions.
We are thrilled to have you be part of our team. We need to wrap up the day and let you get on to your other stuff.
You got a game.
I get my football watching the duties today.
I got to add that.
Is this Go Utes?
There you go. Throw that in there. Absolutely. So yeah, so I've
And I realized I didn't wear a red shirt. What a fan am I?
what
Gosh.
You know what? For those of you that are in this group that are watching the Utes with Dave, because you're all
Yeah.
listening, I know you
Yeah.
are.
And
Yeah,
any
me too.
Lions out there today. So yeah. So
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we got a bunch of our friends in Pennsylvania, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a thing. So anyway, thanks
thanks
again
for having me on.
for joining.
We
Yeah, and
really appreciate
we're
it.
so excited about 2023 over here. I think folks can tell. And so stay tuned in and check out the new time slot, 11
Yeah.
Eastern, all through the year.
Dave, stay in the background if you would for just a second while we go ahead and just
Okay.
invite everybody. So happy new time slot. Really, really excited for this year. Just wanted to do Friday. We have a couple of really, I'm excited for this one too. Jeremy Beck, who is over dealer development at NIADA, and
What? I'm sorry.
the new
Oh, you're talking about the new
the new
CEO,
CEO,
Melanie Wilson.
Melanie Wilson will be joining us as well. So, so we'll have an opportunity to kind of introduce her to our audience. And I've been watching that she's been busy.
Yeah,
doing,
for sure. Making the tour,
kind of doing the tour. So we're really excited and feel grateful that she's going to be joining us with Jeremy. And just so in case you guys are not aware, we are doing the first Friday of every month that Jeremy will be here. And if there's someone else within NIADA to kind of talk about what NIADA is doing, where things stand on Capitol Hill, I mean, all of the stuff. So, so, make sure that you put those, tune in on the first Friday of every month, because it's going to be kind of like news of the industry things.
I've got to go to work on my 2023 subliminal messages.
Ooh.
So yeah, got to find that in there. So, yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
Well, we're really grateful that you all joined us today. Hope you have a great week. This is the first day of 2023 going back to work. And so we're grateful that you shared it with us, and I hope you have a fantastic year. Thanks again so much, guys. Happy New Year.